have missed. And we would just ask, you're more than welcome to have your video on, but we would just ask that if you just remain on mute throughout the meeting. And if you do have any questions, you can use the chat. We will probably go through a lot of what you might have questions throughout the meeting, but and we'll make sure that we check the chat before we do close off. So, as I said, my name is Jason Pratt. I'm the club manager of the Cascade Swim Club. Our head development coach, Jacqueline Pratt, is on the call, as well as Sydney Wall, who is the supervising coach for our JOW program. She is also here. So some of these pieces, just so everybody knows, this presentation is designed for all of the groups, and we'll probably skip through a number of slides that are not relevant for this particular group. So with that, just move on. So tonight, we'll just go over a few administration pieces at the beginning. We'll talk a little bit about communication inside the program. The link for the WhatsApp group for JOW, it's been put in the group chat. We'll talk a little bit about that as we get going through here. We'll talk during the meet calendar, how to sign up for a summit. That'll be part of what we're doing. And then these next few pieces don't really apply to JOW, so we'll just sort of skip through there. Just quickly, office staff, nothing out of the ordinary here. You've known all these contacts already through registering for the club. It's all available on our website, as is the location for the club office, which is at the MNP Community and Sports Center, which is just south of downtown. There's a map here, and there is a map on the website as well. Coaching staff, relevant coaching staff for this part of the program. Jacqueline Pratt, as I mentioned, our head development coach, Sydney Wall, who is the lead coach, supervising coach for our JOW programs. She is on the call. But actually, before I might as well pass this on to Coach Sydney, who can address all of these points here as they're relevant to the JOW program. So Sydney, take it away. I started stepping on your toes there. My apologies.
That's okay. Hi, everybody. You all probably got an email from me this weekend just introducing our coaches. So we have Cassandra on Mondays and Wednesdays at Canyon Meadows. Maria is going to be at Canyon Meadows on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Sydney Corner and Hannah Kay will be on Mondays and Wednesdays at Seton, and Cameron's kind of overseeing that too. And then Tuesday, Thursdays at Seton, that'll be Soleil and Betty. Also, Cameron will be there to assist. I'll kind of be floating between the groups, but I'll primarily be at Canyon Meadows on Mondays and Wednesdays, and then Seton on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But yeah, make sure you introduce yourselves. If our coaches haven't introduced themselves to you already before practice, you're welcome to come down and chat. They'd be happy to put some faces to the names for sure, as would I. But yeah, those are your coaches for this session. We'll be the ones kind of guiding the kids at the swim meets. You'll see a lot of familiar faces. And if anything changes, we'll let you know. But other than that, I think Jason just talked about the parents' WhatsApp chat link. So you guys all have that.
Yeah, so sorry, and I'll just very quickly, it is in the chat right here. So you can access it through that link right there. Send it to yourself on your mobile if that's more convenient too. But it is right here inside the chat for our meeting. Okay.
Yeah, perfect. And the coaches are in that group chat too. So if there's absences, you're welcome to send them through there. Send an email, send a text. You have my direct phone number. Well, if there's any equipment that's left at the pools, our coaches might send a picture through there. We might use that group chat at swim meets to signal when to come pick up your kids or when they'll meet you at your meeting spot. If there's anything urgent or personal, send me a direct message anytime, that's fine. Otherwise, for those longer communications, email's great. I'm pretty good at responding within 24, 48-hour window, especially if it's urgent. So yeah, that's what we'll kind of use for communication this season. That's all good there. And you guys can use it to connect with each other, carpool, any other coordination. It's a great tool just for you guys to all be connected.
Great.
Yeah,
Um, so we just spoke about the WhatsApp group. I think that we wanted to, we can touch on equipment quickly now,
yeah,
and then we'll go back to the calendar up on the website right after that, Sydney, if you like.
perfect. That sounds great. So with our team gear, there is Cascade team gear that you're welcome to purchase at the office. Anything that kind of has the Cascade branded logo. So it's our suits, caps, track suits, parkas, etc. For JOW specifically, the only Cascade branded gear that you for sure need will be a training suit, a swim cap, and a t-shirt. So those t-shirts will be given out at their very first swim meet that they do this year. The caps, they should have already gotten one at the pools this week, fingers crossed. If they didn't, they'll for sure get one next week, or tomorrow if you're starting on Thursday. And then yeah, the swimsuits, they will have to make sure that every swimmer has a team branded swimsuit for their first swim meet. It's really important that they're wearing the training suits that have our club logo in addition to their caps. When the kids are racing, they're representing the club. So we really want that team unity. Should be able to see that that's a Cascade swimmer out there in the lanes. And same goes for practice. Like those suits don't only need to be used at swim meets. A lot of kids like to train in them, so that's great. If your swimmer's not currently training with a swim cap, definitely encourage them to start as soon as possible, just so that they get comfortable with it, because they will need to wear one at swim meets as well. All their other gear. So you guys were sent the shark card and some information from our office team on what equipment you need. So they do need fins, a board, a training snorkel, and goggles. Those can be purchased at Team Aquatic Supplies or online, but you do have a discount code with that shark card at Team Aquatics. It's kind of our main supplier. With goggles, um, having a second pair is great. They end up breaking a lot. So especially at swim meets, two pairs is really, really preferred. And none that cover the nose. We want them to be able to exhale properly from their nose without being restricted. Kickboard, ideally they have their own kickboard for sure. Sometimes there's some at Seaton and Canyon Meadows, but they're not always guaranteed to be available, especially as there's other programs running at those pools. If you do get a kickboard, I would avoid getting like a really huge kickboard. The junior ones, the smaller ones, are really perfect for this level, but they don't have to be fancy. When it comes to fins, this is pretty important. We do really want the kids to have short fins or finished floating fins, any really soft blade fins work, but we really want to avoid the really long bladed fins that are super stiff. It just really negatively impacts their kick technique. Even their like muscle development is not great on their ankles, especially at this age. So short fins are great. If you have questions about those, let me know. We can kind of get into that more too. And then lastly, for equipment, there's swim snorkel. So these are a new addition at this level. It can be a little overwhelming for the kids at first, for sure. So practice in the bathtub. If they have a nose clip, that's excellent. Try with a nose clip first. Eventually, we want them to hopefully be using it without a nose clip, but as long as they need that to help them get comfortable, that's totally fine. The difference between training snorkels and the snorkels that are used for like diving and snorkeling, that forehead piece is really important. And they would be like a specific training snorkel. Again, Team Aquatics is great. And we have some examples like on our website you can look at too through our equipment page. Okay. Um, yeah, and lastly, just with equipment, label everything. We have a lot of swimmers, especially at Seton, and equipment will likely get jumbled up. So use elastic bands, tape, marker, or Sharpie if you want. We just want to know who it belongs to in case we need to get it back to you. And especially with snorkels, we really don't want anyone to be sharing snorkels or sharing a mouthpiece by accident. So have some sort of identifier on there as soon as possible. That would be great. Um, and then with swim caps too. So like I said, everyone should have gotten a swim cap. They get one at the beginning of the season. If they, yeah, perfect. Those are the training snorkels there. Thanks, Jason. If your swimmer needs a new one, we'll have extras on hand. But then any additional caps after that first one will be billed to your account. So just as a heads up there. With equipment too, we talked about, yeah, swimmers need to have that Cascade swimsuit. Otherwise, for suits that they wear for training, we want to avoid board shorts, long sleeve swim shirts, even a t-shirt swim shirt. It can be really restrictive and uncomfortable for kids when they're training at this level. They are swimming more meters. And if like their temperature is a worry, if you're worried about them getting cold, I promise they'll be training enough that they should be staying pretty warm in the water. If anything, I'm worried almost that a wetsuit would make them overheat. So we don't want to be, we want to avoid that as much as possible, have them in their proper training suits. That being said, if there's exceptions or it's a really big comfort issue for your swimmer, or if there's an accommodation that you need, that's fine. Just let me know and I'm sure we can make it work. But wherever possible, proper training suits as much as possible. And yeah, need a Cascade suit for competitions and Cascade caps. But otherwise, I think that's it on team gear.
Yep, and I'll just jump in quickly, Sydney, just
Mhm.
on the everything that we just went over, it is on the website. So if you go in the members, Cascade members down to swim gear, this will tell you, again, and I think we pictured everything that we have that is Cascade branded right there on this page. So if you're interested in other pieces, as you mentioned, you're going to get a t-shirt, but we do have plenty of other pieces. The team gear or sorry, the kit that the Junior Olympic Way, it's listed here on this page, as are the codes and the shark card, which is a discount card for Team Aquatic Supplies. So there is a code here. You can see it if you want to order online, Team Aquatic Supplies. The store, they do have a store in Calgary. It is just across from Chinook Mall. And this is the discount card for anybody in the Cascade Swim Club. So you can just have a picture of this on your phone or download it to your phone in whatever format you like and just show it to them. And it gets you the discount while you're shopping in the store. So that is it for the team kit. Okay.
Awesome. And their calendar.
Okay.
Yeah. So this year we have calendars on our website, which is great for all of the Junior Olympic Way groups. So those will be updated with their practice schedules, any declaration deadlines for swim meets, holidays, uh, actual swim meets, and any rental interruptions, etc. So yeah, Jason, if you click on the calendar on that top bar there on the website, and you can see there's all the options. If we go to the Tuesday, Thursday Seton group, yeah, just one over for the Seton group, you'll see, or this one works too. You'll see that our first declaration deadline, which Jason will go over shortly here too, is Saturday, October 4th. So if you click on that, or yeah, that's the fall fundamentals meet there on the 19th, but that's what the declaration's for. The declaration deadline, just making sure you're declaring your swimmer yes or no, they will be attending by 8 p.m. that day. Okay. But otherwise, all their practices and the times are on there. The parent meeting is on there for today. If you click on one of the practices there for just a random Tuesday afternoon, it will be different based on Canyon Meadows versus Seton just a little bit. But we're really looking this year to have our JW swimmers be on deck 5-10 minutes, ideally at least 10 minutes before the start of their in-water practice time. So at Seton, for example, on the Tuesday, Thursdays, they'll meet on the benches outside the library. The coaches will kind of be up there to supervise the kids between 5:40, 5:45 before they head down to the pool deck. And then we'll be doing activation for that 10 minutes just before we get in the water. I know some of you guys who start a little bit earlier, that 4 p.m. or 4:30 p.m. start time, it might be a little hard getting there earlier if you're coming from school or if it's a long drive, and that's fine. If you can't make it work, you can't make it work. But we do want to start really kind of setting that expectation of being there 10 minutes before whenever possible. And then, Jason, if you don't mind, on that same calendar, I just wanted to show if we can go to that Tuesday, Thursday Seton group and just kind of flip over to December when you get a chance. Perfect. Yeah. So head over to December. Sweet. So you'll see here in December there's some rental interruptions. So for those practices, the JOWs that would normally be practicing at Seton are actually going to be practicing at Canyon Meadows on those days. Okay, so those that makeup practice, it has little stars, a special practice. Okay, it so shows the locations at Canyon Meadows, and there's a slight change in the practice time. Okay, the Monday, Wednesday JOWs would also be affected. So you can look at that for those. Yeah, in December, I think they actually have theirs on a different day than the Monday, Wednesday in December. Yeah, so that rental interruption on the Monday and Wednesday for that month or that week in December, on Tuesday, December 2nd and Thursday, December 4th, the Monday, Wednesday Seton groups will actually be practicing on Tuesday, Thursday that week and at Canyon Meadows. Okay, so practice time, it's a little bit more similar, but a little earlier than what you guys are normally doing at Seton. But yeah, unfortunately, that's just how the schedule worked out at Seton, but thankfully we still have space at Canyon Meadows. So hopefully you guys are able to make it to those practices, adjusted practices.
I just wanted to add, thanks, Denny. I
Mhm.
just wanted to quickly add the MNP facility is undergoing construction right now. And so it is impacting Seton quite a bit. And it just means that, events for diving, synchro, water polo, whatever is going on that normally would be shared between MNP and Seton is essentially Seton is having to run all the events. So it does impact us here and there. We're doing our best to kind of cover things so that everyone gets to practice or some sort of alternate training practice on those days. Obviously, we don't want to disrupt anyone's schedule, and it's not ideal having to swim on opposite days of the week that you would normally swim. But it really we don't have. It is what it is. And everyone is kind of in the same boat in the city. We're all really cramped for pool space, and everyone's trying to get their events scheduled and booked. And unfortunately, it's pretty much down to one facility to do that. So just a quick explanation of why we're out that week, but that's all. Thank
Okay,
you.
great.
Great. Yeah, and
So,
swimming, if we maybe head on over there. Jason, did you want to
yeah,
show them how to sign up first? And then we
yeah,
can get into
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Okay.
So, where do we
And then
go?
also there's
Yeah, I'm just kind of skipping ahead for some of these pieces. And we'll get to swim meets. That's not relevant. Okay, well, just that piece is frozen. So let's just move to the website where we're going to be showing you. Uh,
And maybe while you're doing that, Jason, I see in the chat here. So are the kids supposed to have their swimsuits on to meet outside the library? No, they can go down with a parent to change in the change rooms down near the pool deck. They don't have to be ready to swim upstairs. That's totally fine. They have their suit underneath their clothes, that works. But they can go get changed properly in the change rooms too.
Sure. So, as Sydney mentioned, on your calendars, you will see your swim meets. They're listed as an example. The first one for this program is the Fall Fundamentals. It's Sunday, the 19th of October. Sydney also listed for you the date, which is the 4th. It's a pretty quick turnaround, but it's just because it's the start of the year. And it is the reason why we're having this meeting tonight. So you're going to get an email tomorrow morning inviting your swimmers to attend this first meet. And we would like I mean, the best practice is as soon as you get it, the general information is already up and available. The general information for all upcoming swimming meets will end up on the calendar. Specific information gets emailed to you, but we already know when and where it is. It's listed here. So as I was saying, the best practice is as soon as you get that email, say yes or no, because we are really this one is a bit of a quick turnaround, and some of the meets at the beginning of the year are just that way. But swim meets in Calgary, in particular, are very busy. They are very full. There's a very vibrant and large competitive swimming community in Calgary. And the challenge that everyone is facing, and we're not alone in this, in Calgary, is that the meets fill up very fast. And so when we have these deadlines, they are because the host of the meet has given us a deadline. In this particular case, the deadline is Monday, the 6th of October, when we have to send our entries in. So this is why we're looking for an answer on the 4th. And the big challenge is if you're unable to do it on time by the deadline that we have for you, it just means that your entries or your commitment to go to the meet won't be there in time for us when we send it to the host club. This happens to be the Killarney Swim Club. So it's just very important that you're mindful of those deadlines. And if you have an opportunity to look ahead the calendar so that when the information comes to you, you know right away, yes or no, that is the best practice, is to just get it done right then and there. Because our hands are sort of limited, are tied if you miss a deadline and we can't get those entries in. So conversely, it's also very important if on Saturday you say yes, and a week later you something comes up and you can't go, that you email the office and your coach immediately. In this particular case, there's probably nothing that can be done. And why I say that is if something changes after we have already sent our entries in, if something changes in your availability after whomever is hosting the meet, the deadline has passed, there's nothing that we can really do, in the sense that we'll still be obligated to pay your entry fees. You'll still be obligated to pay us for your entry fees. So it's just really important that communication about things like that is done in writing and is directed to the office, and let your coach know. Just telling your coach at the pool that, oh, things have changed, we can't go to the meet anymore, that won't help. So if we could just make sure that everyone is aware, it does need to be in writing. It does need to be emailed into the office. And if it is past the deadline that the host has set, there's really nothing that can be done. But I mean, we still need to know. But the entry fees would have gone, and 99% of the clubs don't offer refunds after their entry deadline. It's really just to be aware of what that process is. Okay. Okay, so sorry, that was the calendar, but on swim meets. You will get an email. It will have a link directly to the page that I am taking to
Sample email.
you right now. I actually don't have a sample email to show you, or I would.
Yeah.
But the Fall Fundamentals, this is be the first meet. Again, you're going to get a link tomorrow, it will send you right here. And it'll pop up. It will have all the relevant, pertinent information, the date of the meet, the time, in through here, where it is. This one is at the Brookfield Residential YMCA. Most of you are familiar. It tells you the groups that are attending, who the host is, warm-up time, start time, and estimated finish. It also lists your meet entry fees. Okay. And it will be, this is very important, the commitment deadline in this particular case, Saturday, August 4th. It is a quick turnaround. Yeah, Saturday, October 4th. It is a quick turnaround. Ordinarily, you'll get much more time than that, but at the beginning of the year, that's just the way that it is. So you can here accept or decline. And what you do is click on that button. Actually, this one won't work for me to show you because I don't have a swimmer eligible to compete at this meet. I'll just take you to another example. It's the same idea though. This one is closed. Okay, here we go. So this is a different meet, so you can ignore some of the details, but the process is still the same, accept or decline. So again, I just don't have any swimmers of my own, but all it is in through here, you would just say accept, and what comes up is a button that says yes, my swimmer will attend, or I'm declining to attend. And also inside there's a small window for notes, and there you can leave any specifics about the meet. I'll just show you what that looks like on our end so that you're aware. And maybe Jackie or Sydney, one of you want to maybe talk about the notes and what specifically we as coaches might be looking for in there.
Yeah, I think this is important, and like Jason said, if you accept or decline immediately after getting the email, just to stay on top of things, and then if you look at the times of the meet, and let's just say you have a commitment later on in the day that you think you might have to leave early, or it's a 2-day meet and you can only race one day. Those sorts of details are really important for us. And when Sydney's doing the entries, she will see those comments. So if you're at the meet, at the, say, this Killarney meet on October 19th, and you have to leave at 2 o'clock for another event, just leave those details for Sydney and she can adjust the entries so that your swimmer won't be there past that time. If the Junior Olympic Way kids will do a couple of 2-day meets later on in the year. Another example of this would be like if you could only race one day, and if you can race Saturday and not Sunday, that would be important to leave that note so that Sydney knows when she's doing the entries not to put you in when you can't be there. And then it's always also good to follow up with Sydney with an email or a message to her about that. But it's really important that she sees it here. And that's because she's doing entries for probably over 100 kids. She has a lot of entries to do and a lot of swimmers to keep track of. And so it is great if you mention it in passing to her, but it really needs to be in front of her when she's doing the entries here as a backup reminder, so it's not forgotten, because we don't want to put them in events if they're not going to be there. So
yeah, and you can
yeah.
sort of see here, this is what your coaches see, as Coach Jackie mentioned. Like Anna is only able to do swim at session 1 only, something like that. Sam can't compete on Sunday the 26th. I mean, this will be more relevant when you're doing 2-day meets, but that's what the coaches see. That's what Sydney will see before she puts in the entry. So it is important in that comments note section. If any of that would apply to you, then please just get in the habit of ensuring that you put it there.
Yeah.
Great.
And
And I think, Sydney, you want to talk a little bit more about swim meets?
yeah, so
Yeah.
swim meets are super important. We really, really encourage everyone to come to as many as possible. Um, I know like it is a big intimidating thing. It's their very first time competing at this level, so it's totally understandable if there's some hesitancy. Just to give you guys a bit of background, so Jason was saying, yeah, I'm doing the entry, so I will not put your swimmer in an event that they've not been deemed ready for. And so, for example, if your swimmer is completely new, it'll be their very first swim meet. They didn't do JW last year. They'll likely be swimming in 25-meter races, maybe the 50 freestyle, probably not 50 backstroke. Um, and they'll likely be in maybe 2 or 3 events at their first swim meet. Okay. The maximum that we'll have a swimmer in on any single day, especially for those longer meets, if it's a 2-day meet, etc., would be about 4 events. And again, I only put them in those maximum 4 if uh, they have the capacity for that, and we think that it's something that they can do successfully. We don't want to overwhelm anyone or have anyone, yeah, just in something that they're not totally feeling ready for. That being said, there will be times where they're starting to get into the 100-meter events or breaststroke or things like that, and those are harder events to race, but that's okay. It's a learning opportunity. We that may not be super pretty the first time or perfect, and that is totally fine. We are not expecting that. We just are really looking for that exposure, find the baseline, have them start somewhere, and then we can slowly build up from there. But you'd be surprised, our little JOWs do really well at these swim meets, and it's so fun for them. And at swim meets, if you have questions about event selection, send me something directly. I have no problem sharing what your swimmer will be in. We'll also have Meet Mobile available sometimes, or well, every time it should be at all the events that we have this season, which we'll show you shortly if you've never heard of Meet Mobile or used it. Okay. But the focus on the meets, especially the meets that the JOWs are going to be at, is on learning and having fun. Okay. So it's not that serious. They have a lot of time in their swimming career for things to get a lot more serious and higher pressure. We want low pressure, lots of fun, and lots of learning. Okay. With that, even in simple races like freestyle, like there's a lot of possibilities for disqualifications. The disqualification standards are the exact same no matter what age you are. That is just the nature of competitive swimming. And I'll send out a guide to the parents, a disqualification guide, so you guys are aware of what the standards are. But just know there's a lot of standards and a lot of little things that the officials are looking for. They tend to be a little bit more relaxed at the fundamentals meets, which is nice, but your swimmer most likely will get disqualified at least once, if not multiple times, and that is okay. That is totally fine. It's a learning opportunity, and the coaches do everything we can to prevent disqualifications, whether it be through a race plan, through what we're going over during practice, etc., reminders. But once the adrenaline's pumping, sometimes things just happen. It's really easy, and that's okay. So please don't penalize your swimmers for getting disqualified. See it as a positive learning opportunity. That's what we want it to be looked at. Yeah, that's how we want to look at it. And when it comes to skill readiness, the meets are learn to competitive swim based. If your swimmer is not diving off the dive block yet, totally fine. They can dive from the edge or even start in the water. There's a lot of fundamental swimmers that start in the water too. That's fine. Okay. We just ask too, if you're coming to swim meets, please arrive on time, especially for our little guys. It's really, we have a lot of swimmers and a lot of little swimmers. It's a busy environment. So we really want to corral everyone, get everyone together for activation and our team cheer, and let them know what their races are. A lot of times we'll write their events on their wrists or on their hands so they can see and understand what heat and lane they're going to be in. That is also something you can do at home before the swim meet. I strongly recommend that. Jason will show you Meet Mobile here. He has it up. But yeah, you'll be able to see your swimmers' heats and lanes before the swim meet starts. So if you want to write on their wrist what they have for their events, that's great. Sometimes there's little changes as the meet starts, but usually day of things are updated, which is great.
I'll just say about the Mute mobile app. I mean, it's available Android or iPhone. It is not a perfect app by any stretch of the imagination. And a lot of the information that is put on the app, well, all the information that's put on the app is dictated by the host club. When we host meets and they're at Seton, generally it runs pretty seamlessly, and we're pushing up results, we're pushing up timelines and heat sheets on a regular basis and in advance. Um, Depending on where the meet is being run, and your first one does happen to be at Seton, you probably will experience that. But if you swim at the actual Killarney pool, or if you swim at Thornhill or Foothills or any of those other smaller pools in the city, they will not necessarily work the same way, vis-a-vis that app and getting information up and out as readily, or maybe as accurately as others are. So it's really just more of a to be aware. When it works fine. But it is dependent on the host and how their sort of technology pieces are set up. But if you have any questions about that, by all means, just let us know. So.
And that's where also, the parent group chat comes in handy because we certainly have people on this call who have older siblings in the club, and they know the ins and outs of these things. So, that's where you can help each other work your way through all these little gimmicks and all the pieces to, answer your questions, that sort of thing. So you can help each other. Sometimes the parents are our best resource for stuff like that, for sure.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
And yeah, prepping swim meets, there will be a more detailed email from me leading up to the swim meet, usually in that week before. Once we have all the details from the host club, I usually send it a few days before the meet, just so everyone has the same information. Maybe there's an access pass, or the office will send that information out too, but I'll include any additional details. Um, what to bring to swim meet. So they do not need any equipment for their warm up. Like, don't bring their gear. They do need their cap, at least ideally 2 pairs of goggles, their branded team swimsuit. They'll receive their team t-shirt at their first meet, but otherwise they should be bringing that every time. Warm clothing, a water bottle, towels, maybe multiple towels. We will have extra caps on hand as well. Snacks, quick bite-sized snacks that provide like quick energy that don't require a lot of cleanup. No muffins or really big meals or unhealthy meals. We don't want any swimmers throwing up or just not feeling great before their races. Um, the other thing I want to say too, especially with swim meets, try to set up a meeting spot for your swimmer at the facility that we're at for them to go to. Usually you could do the change rooms, that's fine. Keep track of your swimmers' races. I'll tend to send out a message in the group chat once everyone's finished their races for the day. Sometimes though, the boys might end a little earlier than the girls. So just make sure you have that meeting point set with your swimmer so we can send them there to find you and be supervised in the big facilities that we might be racing at. Yeah, and I see leave and come back for swim meet during the day. Or some of our swim meets, like for fundamentals, they may not be long enough to warrant that.
Yeah.
And most of the time, no. Like it just the events are so intertwined and there's only one warm up. So there's only one warm up session usually for our guys. If they were at a higher level, that might be a little different. But our swim meets at this level are pretty short. And if you can't stay past a certain point, that's fine. We'll just stick to those short windows. We don't want them in and out and losing track of swimmers. I think that'd be best practice. Um, yeah. And nervous swimmers, like I said, swim meets overwhelming. It's not unusual for swimmers to feel nervous at their first meet. It's something that all of us as coaches are really used to managing. And it is important that parents do not come to the pool deck whenever you can help it. Please let us work through those issues together and support your swimmer. If something major comes up or if it's just not working out, we will contact you directly 100%. But usually once they're with their friends, they get to see how the meet kind of gets started and gets running. They tend to calm down and start enjoying it, which is what we want. We really want them to have fun, and nerves are normal. Um, and yeah, we'll keep you updated if needed or if anything comes up. And with that too, please, please, please avoid offering coaching tips to your swimmer with certain things. They have a lot to remember, a lot that goes into their race plans from their coaches. They're already getting probably information overload as it is. So we just want to avoid conflicting information. And maybe some of you might have been wonderful swimmers or have knowledge, and that's wonderful. But just at this level, please, yeah, try to keep the coaching to the coaches, and we want all the support from the parents and encouragement. That is the main job for the parents when it comes to swim meets.
So there's just a
But
couple questions in the chat. I think Jackie, you're going to answer the one regarding the,
How many times?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. So there is a question about how many times will they race? And I think Sydney quickly said probably for this very first meet, because it is quite early in the season. The kids will probably do maybe 2 races, possibly 3 if they've been in JOW a little bit longer. But typically the swim meets that they will be attending are single session meets, which means they run about 3 to 4 hours. Most of them are about that long, and so in that time when we're doing entries for meets, it's typically a four event maximum. But we will only put them in the maximum number when they're ready to do that. So it'll be something like that.
There was a question regarding how many clubs there are
Oh,
in
yeah.
Calgary, in the Calgary area. There's probably about a dozen clubs in the greater Calgary area, if you include Cochrane and Okotoks that are, really just a part of the big area of Calgary. But do we have any swim meets outside of Calgary? It does kind of depend. There are 1 or 2 events that your swimmers are slated to go to that don't have hosts yet. So it is possible that there may be a meet that is out of town, but the furthest out of town it would be Canmore. It wouldn't be any further than that.
Canmore, Okotoks,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah.
Yeah. Anything else? Yeah. So for this one, minimum number of swim meets required. At this level, this is the introduction to competition, and it really is important that when they start to race, the more experience they have, the more they will improve. And it really is a reality. The kids who attend and race more often will see success a little bit quicker. And so we really do stress to participation. I think Sydney already mentioned it, but as come to as many meets as possible. We just find it for so many reasons the meets are important. It's a social outlet for the kids, especially at this level. They're finally in a group where they're going to be together all year, and so they get to know their friends. They have time in between races to play a game of cards or do a little craft with their friend on the pool deck. It's a really fun and exciting time for them, and not only for those reasons, but everything that Sydney plans for the JOWs in their practices is directed to help them race. And so get them ready to race, work on their technique, on their turns, on their starts, and all of the pieces kind of come together at the swim meets. It's kind of like, it's sort of holding them accountable for everything that they do in practice, and it really is just so much fun. I think that the kids, once if they're feeling a little uneasy and nervous, like Sydney said, it's perfectly normal. And it is a different experience from day-to-day practice, especially the kids coming from Canyon Meadows Pool, who will be attending meets at Seton. It can be a little overwhelming for sure, but together with their friends and their coaches, the focus is on having fun, learning the ropes, and just putting forth their best effort when they race. And that's the goal here. So yeah, there isn't a minimum, but if you can attend as many as possible, be there.
Just a question here about parent commitment to volunteer hours, and there is no commitment to any officiating or volunteering at this level and with this group. That does happen. It happens later, but not at JOW. So whether we are hosting the event or you're attending an event hosted by another club, there is no commitment on you, on your part as a parent, to volunteer and officiate at any of those summits. So you are aware, though, as you continue on through the club and at the next level, Olympic way, then there does become an ask on the part of the parents to get qualified to officiate so that you can participate in the events that Cascade are hosting. We do host a number of them, a number of meets that your swimmers will be at, and there's a certain amount of officials that are required on the pool deck to be able to host that. But at this level, no, there is no requirement on the part of the parents to officiate or volunteer to submit.
There's a question here about the timeline of the swim meet, and it does list on the meet package that the timeout is for 4 o'clock, but that would be the very end of the swim meet. And so, I mean, I'm guessing 25 free might be the last event that the Junior Olympic Ways will race. And so, when your swimmers completed their races, they can go home. So I mean, Sydney would know better, but I don't think anyone is going to be in breaststroke right off the get-go. And if not, so you will be done before 4 o'clock. And and like Sydney mentioned, as soon as your swimmers are finished, we would want them to say, Coach Sydney, I'm done. I'm leaving. My mom is meeting me in the bathroom or whatever. And Sydney will also follow up with a group message in the WhatsApp chat saying, the kids are finished, and you can come and collect your swimmer.
And I would say, because the question is, this meet looks like it's long. I would say that this will probably be refined and adjusted a little bit closer to the event once the host, Killarney in this case, has all of the entries.
Yeah.
This is how they have it written, is unusually long for this level.
Yeah.
Typically, the meets that we host, warm-ups at 11, racing gets going a little bit before 12, and we're done by 3 o'clock, 3:30. Like, it's a maximum of 4 hours, most commonly. So this one, I'm not sure why they have it listed the way that it is, but they will refine that once all of their entries in. As soon as they let us know, we will let you know what that is so that you can better plan your day if you have other things going on. So
There is a question here about swim meets on weekends, and they're typically on weekends, either Saturday or Sunday. We do have a few meets this year that are running on Friday evening. We have one later in the year that happens on probably a Thursday evening. But if it is a weekday, it runs after school, and it is typically run from maybe 4 to 7-ish, something like that.
yeah, it is most common that these meets at this level are Saturday or Sunday. And it is unusual to have a weekday evening event, but they do happen from time to time. Yeah.
And I think Sydney has them on the calendar. You can scroll through and have a look. Sydney, did you have anything else you wanted to finish off
No,
with, or?
no, I think that was it. Just keep the communications lines open. So If you have any questions, concerns, accommodations for your swimmer, if they have special needs or something that you feel should be communicated, just so we can best set them up for success and support them at practice, please let us know or reach out to me. We want to make sure everyone has a good experience and has what they need. So just, yeah, communicate. Can never over communicate. So at least not with me.
Mhm.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
otherwise,
any
yeah,
more
we're happy to
questions?
have fun.
Are we on mute, Jim?
So I am just scrolling through. Yeah, none of those other pieces were relevant for this particular group. And I guess it's just an opportunity. I realize it's already getting to 9 o'clock. We do appreciate everybody coming on. We did schedule it so that everybody could get home from the pool. And so we realize it's late and we've got through everything. But if there are any other questions or anything that we didn't address, feel free to put it into the chat. Or if you think of something a little bit later, by all means, you can email Coach Sydney if it's something particular with signing up for meets and things like that. You can email the office, but in advance of that, you should expect a note coming out to you tomorrow asking you to either commit or decline to the first swim meet that's happening in October. And it will just be important, as we mentioned early on, and we don't want to keep beating a dead horse with it, but we really need you to pay attention to those deadlines that are coming, just so that we can ensure we get your swimmers into the events.
Yep. Great. Any more questions?
I'm just checking our chat one last time, and oops, I don't think. No, I don't think we have anything else. So, yeah, I think that's about
Thank
it.
you, everybody.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll have a great season. So, thank you very much for coming on the call, and I'll look forward to seeing you around the pool deck.
Thanks, Sydney.
Have a great night, everybody.